Hello Exiles, and this is Fusion Gaming, and welcome to today's channel. We are getting closer and closer to the 3.23 launch, and my video today is just to quickly run through 5 build guides that I feel are absolutely solid in terms of they will get you through to the end of the axe, and they will then get you safely into maps without, I would expect, massive amounts of currency being spent, and you should then be able to progress through the maps all the way through till you get to tier 16 maps. And if you sink enough investment into it, then eventually you will then be able to then complete all of the bosses like the Searing Exarch, the Eater of Worlds. So it's a case of that as long as you are obviously invested into the builds, then these will, all 5 of these I feel will do very well in terms of damage and in terms of potential survivability. Now, I am going to provide you with links to all 5 of the build guides. I am going to put timestamps and obviously through the video, so if you want to skip through them, then you're more than happy to. However, let's begin. So, number 1 on the list would be EA Champion. Now, with the fact of how strong this build has been over the last couple of leagues, I don't believe that that will change. It's still relatively strong, it's still relatively cheap, and you can relatively get to maps and complete all content with this build. It's all based on the actual build itself though, so if you don't like the downside, then obviously the only downside that I would say to the build is the playstyle. The fact that you have to put the ballista down, you have to wait for the ballista to then fire a projectile into the actual boss or whoever it may be, and then you then have to wait for that to then explode. But in terms of relativity and in terms of the actual build itself, I feel that this is going to be super strong this league, as it has been. I will provide the link for this build down below for it to help you on launch day. Now, my second build that I believe would be a very good contender would be a Pathfinder, Toxic Rain, and then late game going into Poison, Artillery, Ballista. Again, the playstyle is very similar to EA Champion in the fact that there is a delayed playstyle with the delayed poison and obviously with the chaos damage, but it is still a very strong build. I know quite a few people that will be starting with this build, and they have started with this build nearly every single league. You would obviously start during the axe going through with Caustic Arrow, and then you would then progress from there. Again, I will provide the link towards this build for launch day in the description below, and hopefully this would help you in terms of getting through the axe. My third contender today would be a Bone Shatter Juggernaut. Now, I've never played this build, so I can't really comment on obviously how the playstyle is. All that I know that obviously I have played alongside with people, and it has been quite fun to watch. I'm not a massive keen on melee builds myself, but it is obviously one of them builds that obviously you kind of either you love it or you hate it. So this is obviously, I know that the build is very strong, it can get relatively quick, and obviously I do know a few people that have then transitioned from this build into then an armor stacking jug, capping nearly over 1 million armor. So it's a case of if you want to go down that route, then this is the best foothold to go from with a Bone Shatter Jug. The damage I know can get up into the absolute millions, and even up on PoE Ninja I have seen a few which have been in excess of nearly 200 and 300 and upwards of 500 million. Just depends on how much money you want to throw into the build. Again, I will put a build link for this in the description below to help you. So my number 4 build guide would be SRS Guardian. Now, with this build, it has kind of grown in popularity over the last league, and even at the back end of the most recent league, the Trial of the Ancestors. But it has been quite around, I think, for around about 2 leagues now. It is very popular. It's probably one of the easiest builds in terms of content. You can scream through maps and scream through the axe just because of how easy it is, and it is quite tanky as well, with the fact that the Guardian can pick up a ton of armor. So if you stack that, then it's a case of that you will very rarely die, so you won't lose any XP, so you will then be able to level this build very quickly. And due to the new ascendancy that comes with the Guardian, that does help as well. So yeah, that's what I feel. This is going to be a good solid build and should take you all the way through to maps and all the way through to pinnacle bosses. My last guide is going to be a bit of a mixture. So it's going to be, you're going to start the axe with Rain of Arrows, and then at some point during the axe you are then going to transition into Lightning Arrow, Now the lightning arrow change can depend. It can start from as early as Act 7, I've been told, and then at some point then when you get into maps, you'll then want to switch over to tornado shot. So the whole main part of the build is that you are going to want to kind of transition over to tornado shot, but it's a case of when do you do that. Now there are some builds out there that will tell you to then start doing tornado shot literally from Act 3 when you will get the gem, but I know that you are going to really struggle if you start doing it from Act 3. Now there is a YouTuber that I work with, and he primarily focuses on bow builds, and he's been doing bow builds for quite some time, called Mikoshi, who here is providing me a nice massive PowerPoint that will literally give you every single element of the guide step by step. It gives you all of the information and all of the detail, and I would highly recommend that you also follow his channel. It's called Mikoshi. All of his videos, obviously he's a massive bow player, so he does tornado shot, he does lightning arrow, he does all of that. So yeah, he's a very good gentleman, and obviously he's provided me with this information. In terms of what I'm going to be playing now, the build that I'm going to be playing is going to be a little bit, it's not anything new, it's not, I wouldn't say it's off meta or even on meta, but it's a case of that I don't know how well it's going to perform, so because of that I am not going to state on this basically on this video that it is a solid build, just because I won't know until I actually play it. So I would rather try something that is potentially a little bit differently. It has had a bit of a buff in the recent patch notes, so I want to try it out and I'll see how it does. If it does well, then I will make a video about it. Other than that, nice and short video for you guys. It's just to kind of help you out, because I appreciate everyone's probably looking for what builds to do. If you are new to the channel, go and check out all of my other videos. I have done quite a few guides recently. However, until then, thanks for watching, and I appreciate your time.